What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mike Dolce Show, Monday morning edition with Ask the Dietitian, Professor Lindsay Howard. How are you, Lindsay?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Good to see you. Well, I think
too.
We're both doing better than one Mr. Diego Nightmare Sanchez and his now former manager, JOSH FABIA. We're going to kick off the show with this conversation. We're going to jump into your questions, by the way. So those of us watching live on YouTube, feel free to start asking your questions in the chat section. We will answer those. And then there's a few other topics, weight loss, weight cutting associated, that we'll jump into. But Diego Sanchez and JOSH FABIA, yikes, right? What's going on there?
It's weird. It's weird. I mean, just from the outside looking in, like, I feel like Diego Sanchez has always been a off-the-wall kind of guy. But, man, did you see the video of the weird training? It's like weird training video. It's like meditation. He was, like, hitting him with a stick. Super, super weird.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it with FABIA as we're here talking, because I tried to show it last week where I showed the episode, but it was blocked. Now, the reason why it was blocked, I mean, here's the quick from MMA Mania. Let's see if we can show it here. Odd training session. All right. We'll show it briefly, and we'll give attribution to this is coming from MMA Mania's website as it's loading here, so hopefully everyone at home can watch it. Well, it's anticlimactic, isn't it?
Maybe it got taken down.
You know, it might have. Let's go straight to YouTube here. We're still scrolling. Hey, shows up in the feeds. Let's try it one more time here. Oh, it's already high up on the list. Let's try this one. Here we go.
There we go.
This is insanity, right? We all agree this is insanity. My 20 plus years inside the MMA world, 30 plus years in combat sports, I've never seen such insanity before. Now, this is, for those who don't know, this is Diego Sanchez's now former manager, trainer, guru, JOSH FABIA, who is kicking and punching Diego Sanchez while Diego is hanging upside down. And this is clearly... Stop that and get out of that. That is clearly a produced event, right? Clearly they had video cameras there that was made to be recorded. They were very happy to show that for some reason. It was very well lit. You know, there's clearly a professional, a videographer there putting this all together. So that was a staged event on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Why is that? Why would someone do that, which is freaking insane?
Yeah, that's the question, I guess. But it's weird, like, you read all these articles and there's like, same with any news, you could read one that's like this side and it's this opinion, and then you read another one, completely different opinion, because the coach had his quotes and pretty much bashed Diego Sanchez, and then you've got Dana White coming out saying, like, is it Fabia or Fabia? I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but saying, like, this guy is a creep. I'm glad that Diego got away from him and all the stuff. So it's interesting to read both sides of it.
Yeah, and I'm just going to pull something up right now on the MMA Junkie site. So everyone, let's take a quick look at this as we throw it up on screen. And the audio quality, you might need to, those watching, listening at home, you might need to bump your audio quality up on this a little bit. It might be slightly less loud than Lindsay and I speaking, but let's play this real quick.
UFC tenure of the Ultimate Fighter 1 winner Diego Sanchez had come to a rather unceremonious end. Now, look, there's been a whole lot of negative talk about this situation, but Diego is a man that always likes to focus on the positive. So let's do that. Give me your best Diego Sanchez memory from his. There aren't many in Houston.
Oh, man. So that's crap. That's not the video I was looking for, by the way. Not exactly the video that we were looking for, but here, I want to read from this article because it's a little misleading here. So in this article, JOSH FABIA details weird stuff. So now, last week we reported here on this show that Diego Sanchez has fired his manager. Diego put out a statement through his attorney. We read that last week. Now, JOSH FABIA responds. That's what we want to talk about here from the MMAJunkie.com website. Joshua Fabia has spoken out for the first time since cutting professional ties with Diego Sanchez. And I'm just going to read Fabia's quotes here. Fabia says, Diego is definitely a celebrity. He had some celebrity a-hole tendencies. He didn't like tipping, and he did some weird stuff in front of me that, threw up for some red flags. But over time, just talking to him, it kind of seemed, like I said, the celebrity stuff. He continued things like, you get a divorce and you have a child, but you get a 1-bedroom condo. Things just don't make sense to me. But I'm thinking, okay, he's got his own plans. He knows what he's going to do. Maybe it's just super temporary, like I don't know. And I'm wondering, why is he driving around in a $3,000 Mercedes? Just questions that throw up flags. So I'm thinking he's telling me he's frugal, he's saving money. Okay, that's an odd statement. From everything on the outside as a trainer that's seeing somebody 3 days a week, I moved him into the condo. I helped him in the divorce and this little moment, and everything seemed pretty much the same as anybody else under these circumstances to a degree. Fabian Sanchez got into numerous spats with the UFC before splitting. It goes on to say. Now back to Fabia says, as I get to more information, as I'm with the lawyer and the lawyer talks to Diego, and Diego asks about his education and starts talking about how he was in special education. Holy shit, Fabia says. Huge red flags, man. This is not at all what anyone perceived, and Diego is not anywhere near what anyone knows. And Diego has been an addict, Fabia says. He hasn't told anyone for the past 5 months. I was his sponsor living with him that I had to live there because he was broke and lost all his money and strung out on kratom and alcohol and 30 other substances. He has sexual abuse issues. Yikes. Now, he didn't say any of that, man, but I've been holding up all this. I've been doing everything, and everything's coming at me. Well, this is all Fabia's statements here, to be clear. This is not my statements or opinion here. Fabia goes on to say, I'll put it out there. I'll put out all the proof. I'll put out all the videos, man. Diego has clearly been taking advantage of me for 2 years as I have been fighting for him and putting myself on the line for him with zero benefit. I am the one getting death threats here. All right, so this is all over the place, to be clear. Josh Fabia seems to be all over the place. The statements seem to be all over the place. Josh Fabia, I know Diego personally, right? Diego and I are friends, but not so much in the last few years. But for a period of time, we were, kind of text buddies. We'd see each other at the UFC events. So I have more behind the scenes information than the average person probably would. But I'm only going to speak on the public information, to be fair to Diego. And in the beginning, personally, I gave Josh Fabia the benefit of the doubt initially, as no one knows what is happening truly behind the scenes. We're all weirdos in certain snippets of our lives. But as time went on, of course, the very beginning, as time went on, the oddity of the relationship really started to become apparent, to the point that it was obvious that maybe Fabia is not a bad person, but the limelight and the energy being thrust towards him made him act a little off, right? When you get the UFC lawyers hunkering down on you, you're getting beat up in the media all the time, you act a certain way. And I like to give people certainly the benefit of the doubt early on. But again, as time continued on, it seemed that he was not credible as a manager. To manage an athlete is a professional position. You don't want to hire a manager that does not have, I call it C-suite executives, chief of operations, chief intelligence officer, C-suite. You should be a college level or a bachelor of you have a BA in business, right? Bachelor of Arts in business or finance, or some sort of higher level of education in order to read and decipher contracts, in order to negotiate, in order to understand the workings of other agencies, what budgets look like and expenses look like, and all these other things. There's a lot to management. Fabia seemed clearly unequipped to deal with that, but as he went on, the training itself seemed crazy. What we saw, Diego hanging upside down, and then the last little bit, Diego was on a pretty good contract with the UFC. He was guaranteed $200,000 to fight, plus bonuses, plus outfitting pay. Diego was making about $250,000 just to show up That doesn't include win bonuses. That doesn't include performance of the nights. Diego could easily walk out of the octagon $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 richer, guaranteed $250,000 just to show up. To walk away from that is a big deal. A guy like Diego, he could probably fight once a year, once every 6-8 months, and have a very nice life moving forward. And he could have leveraged that into future income earning opportunity. It seems like now that is gone, and his reputation is so tarnished in many ways. It will be hard for him to command the same rate in combat sports. Now, not that he can't get gigs doing other things. Now entities will leverage his persona, leverage this bad media, and further tarnish his image. Think about like celebrity boxing, Dustin Diamond, Jose Canseco, right? These legitimate performers in one field get completely, Danny Bonaducci, get completely dismantled from their true skill set at a certain point in their career. And it appears that Josh Fabia is likely responsible for much of that. So I'm speaking here quite a bit. Lindsay, I know you're familiar with the situation also to a degree. What are your thoughts on what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like, I mean, I haven't spent hours and hours reading about it, just kind of the news articles here and there, but it seems unfortunate, I guess, for everybody involved. Like you said, nobody really knows what truly went on behind the scenes, but like you had mentioned before, that training video, and there was like meditation involved. There was a point at which he was like blindfolded and all that stuff. That's just weird. Yeah. And like you're completely right. The lights were out, like it was like stage lighting. Yeah. Like it was for a purpose. So it's like, if you're going to show that small clip, you wonder what like days and days and hours of training looks like. So it just seems like, and I don't know how long they work together or how many other fighters he works with. But I'm sure that in the coming weeks, there's going to be a lot more information that comes out. I'm sure it's the last, I mean, there's so many articles and so much. That's just weird to watch. It makes me uncomfortable. It's just crazy. But I mean, Dana White, he like speaks off the cuff, like he doesn't care. Yeah. And just to come out and be like, that guy's a freak. Like he said, he's creepy, and he's actually glad that they have cut ties to hopefully lead Diego Sanchez in a better direction. So it is interesting. And then you have to wonder like what's going to happen from a legal standpoint now that they're pretty much just bashing each other publicly. Yeah. So like slander or libel or whatever, if something will come out of that. But I don't know. Very, very interesting. It's weird.
It's weird. And you know what's interesting? It just shows you in many ways how bad of a manager negotiator, in my opinion, of course, that Josh Fabia is. And I'm doing my best to not personally attack anybody here, but I do want to speak to the management. So it appeared that they were creating a case, that Josh Fabia was creating a case against the UFC. And that's what the UFC has also stated in not so many words, that it appeared that Fabia was trying to make a claim against the UFC for physical damage incurred by Diego during the competitive career inside the UFC. But then Fabia posts a video of himself punching and kicking his fighter, who is right in the head. He's punching his fighter in the head. So this video right here, 100%, in my opinion, would nullify any legal claim by Diego Sanchez. Now, because of Josh Fabia producing and publishing this video, he's punching and kicking a defenseless man hung upside down in his skull. Right? So they're trying to make a case, or it seems, allegedly, they were trying to make a case that Diego had suffered undue damage inside the octagon, and it was maybe the UFC's fault, right? Big lawsuit could come that way. We've seen some things happen inside the NFL, and now here he is basically doing much worse, right? This is illegal inside the UFC. You know, defenseless opponent not fighting back. Herb Dean steps in. He stops this immediately. Where's Herb Dean? Where's Herb Dean anyway? So it just really shows how crazy. And what do you guys think here? So feel free to leave the comments, everyone watching live. And then after the video posts, if you're watching the replay, for sure, definitely leave comments below. I'll certainly jump in and answer some of these with Lindsay too. So anything else? I mean, what more do we say about this, right? Insanity. They've broken up. They no longer work together. Now the war of words has begun, and that's going to be interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's not going to end. And like I said, I don't know if he works with other fighters, but who is going to hire him now after seeing all of this? Like, nobody. Like Diego Sanchez would most likely come back and fight in some sort of promotion. Like I think he's fine there. But as far as a coach and manager, who now that he's got this public reputation is going to be like, yeah, sign me up. I want to hang upside down and get punched in the head.
Agreed. Well, there was one point that Fabia was chasing his fighters around with a knife. Let me see if I can find that.
Fabia knife chase.
Okay, Emil Meek releases this. Let's see. All right, let's. Everybody can watch this. All right, great. Let's watch this real quick.
This is wild.
Josh Fabia, the manager, agent guru, has a knife.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. Wow.
Wow. Now I've trained with some of the greatest coaches in the world, Professor Henzo Gracie, Coach Greg Jackson, and Mike Winklejohn, Randy Couture, Matt Linlin, Robert Follis, God, you know, who else? The great Ricardo Laborio, Firas Zahabi, you know, God, the Dwayne Bang Ludwig. So many amazing coaches I've had the honor to train alongside, head coaches where I've lived with them. I've trained inside their gyms. I've traveled the country, traveled the world, talked philosophy and training. Never once have I heard any one of these coaches say, you know what? Just chase these motherfuckers around the gym with a knife. Watch their performance. Watch their performance. Chase them around the gym with a knife, hang them upside down, and punch and kick them in the head. That's the key to them being successful inside MMA. I've never heard one of these MMA great coaches and trainers ever say such a thing. So maybe they're missing out. Maybe Josh Fabia, maybe he's simply just misunderstood and ahead of his time, right?
Cutting edge. Literally.
It's Saturday.
But no, I mean, I understand the analogy. Like, if you're like, oh, imagine like, you know, any hands that are thrown at you as a knife, but you don't actually take a real knife and chase these people around, you know?
I'm blown away. I feel bad for Diego. I know so many of these athletes. I've been in this game since the 90s, working with combat athletes before the unified rules. For those who are new to this, I'm the 4-time World MMA Trainer of the Year, of the only one to ever win it that many times. I won it 4 times consecutively before I bowed out and said, please, you know, don't nominate me anymore. My other great coaches and peers deserve more accolades here. True story. But I've been in the game since the 90s as an amateur collegiate wrestler, working with college athletes, then branching out to combat athletes, jiu-jitsu, Team Henzo Gracie back in the late 90s, hired by Team Quest North, Randy Couture's gym in 2004, when Randy was getting ready to fight Tito Ortiz for the UFC light heavyweight world title. I was hired as the head strength coach for Team Quest North. Just so you understand how deep I've been in the game, that's what, 17 years from the time Randy hired me. That was 2004. Is that really 17 years ago? Holy shit, I'm old. God damn. And before that, I had to build a resume and a pedigree of working with like Jay Robinson Wrestling. I was one of the writers for the Jay Robinson newsletter, helped with organizing his wrestling camps, coming up with nutrition periodization programs and such. 20 plus years or so ago, working with multiple NCAA athletes, blah, blah, blah. So all of that, I've been in the game a freaking long ass time now, right? I've seen, this is well before The Ultimate Fighter was on TV. I was already working inside Team Quest when Chris Lieben and Nate Quarry, they left the gym to go film Ultimate Fighter 1. What is this stupid show? You know, nobody knew what it was going to be. But now to see where MMA is and what, you know, JOSH FABIA is doing here, it's a little interesting. So I wanted to jump from here. We're 20 minutes in the Diego Sanchez thing, so we'll maybe talk more about that at the end. I want to get into some questions here. So Bitcoin Apes, Brian White says, hodl. Where's all my crypto folks out there? We are hodling right now, and I'm dollar cost averaging for what that's worth. Dave B, I hope you're here. And then Bitcoin, for anyone who's in the crypto world, you know I'm slowly but surely I've been pulled into the crypto world, riding that roller coaster. And then FOMO, fear of missing out, at the top, 64K. People were buying in, selling at 29, and I'm happy to say I've been picking up little satoshis myself, down in the high 20s, low 30s. But don't forget Ethereum, don't forget ADA, don't forget VeChain. There's quite a few out there I'm enjoying. What about you, Lindsay? You got any crypto in your world?
I have considered. I've recently gotten a little bit more into, you know, stocks and things like that, because it's, you know, the smart way to go. Yes. But it's a gamble, that's for sure. Yeah. So I just need to make sure I do, as anyone should, do your research, be responsible, and all that stuff. So kind of just entering the world.
It's the problem with crypto for me, it trades 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
It's a lot to keep up with.
It's a lot. So and this is not financial advice, by the way. These are just two knuckleheads blind. Don't do anything we say. But what my stance is, and I'm a long-term investor, right? Everything I put into the market, short-term can disappear. Long-term, I expect it to grow. And then we have longer time horizons, 3-year, 5-year, 10-year, and then retirement time horizons. The vast majority, it's all relative to the individual, of my portfolio is in my 401k, my Roth 401k. That's just dollar cost averaging every paycheck. Brandy and I, we drop a little bit to traditional S&P 500 index funds, ETFs. I speak about that all the time. We mimic the market. I listen to much of Jack Bogle's investing advice, the founder of Vanguard, the creator of the ETF, Warren Buffett. Those are the ones I really look towards my long-term investing. Short-term, though, I do play a little bit more with discretionary money that I can lose for a little while. I hope not to lose it forever, but money that I can lose for a little while, meaning I'm not going to pull it out. It won't affect my dinner tonight, my kids' school next year even, but hopefully in time, longer term, it will appreciate. Investing in stocks like Tesla, let's say, or right now, even the NASDAQ. Investing in NIO, which is a Chinese electronic vehicle manufacturer that I'm starting. I've been dripping into that. Or Palantir, I got a few shares over in there, but also Bitcoin and Ethereum and Cardano and a few of these other crypto assets or cryptocurrencies, crypto platforms. So to your point, Lindsay, you got to learn about it, though. Don't just jump in, and whatever you put in, expect to lose it. Expect to lose it all. If you're not ready to lose it all, do not get into the crypto market for sure, but definitely be prepared. Like everything I put in, I'm totally prepared to not make any money for 5 years, understanding the cycles of crypto, which is so brand new, and it could all disappear eventually. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we could all go to the moon, baby.
To the moon.
To the moon, right? Awesome. Joe Condor's in the house. What's up? All right, Brian White says, what about the Gracie diet, not mixing food groups like beans, rice, grains, potatoes? Lindsay, do you know anything about the Gracie diet? And if not, I can share a little bit more into it.
I was going to say no. I don't know enough to speak on this one, so...
well, the Gracie diet came through the Gracie family. Let me see here if I can pull up. Let's just kind of briefly run through this if for everyone that's watching. All right. The Gracie diet, this comes from Gracie Mag back in 2015. The Gracie diet was around. It was popular, and it kind of faded away. Number one, foods are divided into 6 main groups. 1 is protein and vegetables, 2 is sweet fruits, 3 is starches, 4 is acidic fruits, 5 is milk, 6 is milk cream. The second point is how you mix the foods in each group is one of the keys to success. Now, this came, I believe, from Grandmaster Carlos Gracie. about, his ideal nutrition plan. So, and there's a few different ways that they look into this. A is foods in group 1 can mix with themselves and also with group 2. So protein and veg can be eaten, protein and veg by itself, but protein and veg can also be eaten with fruit. Foods in group 2 do not mix with each other, which means you can have one type of fruit at a time. You can have pineapple only. You can have apples only. You can't have pineapples and apples. C, foods in group 3 combine with each other and one item in group 2. Now this already, I'm lost. I'm already lost. So now let's go on. Cooked meals or fruit-based meals, take your pick. When to eat is important as what to eat, contrary to other popular nutrition methods. The Gracie diet advocates longer intervals between meals. Carlos used to say that 5 hours is the ideal time between meals. The idea is to allow enough time for your body to fully process the previous meal beforehand. If 5 hours is too long for those who follow the diet, blah, blah, blah. All right, know your fruits. Gracie diet is divided to fruits, 2 different versions, sweet and acidic, but it's not easy to know which belongs. Water is not just water. No tomatoes. They're not really banned, but they're too acidic. All right, so this is a decent breakdown of the Gracie diet. Let's see if there's a graph here, which I believe there is, which is just also confusing as hell. Right, so all right, last piece here before we go too long. But everybody watching this, I want to be able to show it. All right, so here we go. Group A and Group B, these can be mixed together. All right, you know what? I'm over it. All right, well, I think we have enough information, by the way, right? We all got enough information. I'm over it. I'm over it. I followed. I'm friends with the Gracies. I mean, I came up under Professor Renzo Gracie, but he's not the Gracie diet. Here's one of the things with the Gracies that everyone needs to know. The Gracie name is powerful, but there's many different business models under the Gracie name. And this is something that's very confusing to the general public. Right? There's Henzo Gracie, there's Hickson Gracie, there's Hoyler Gracie, there's Daniel Gracie, there's dozens of prominent Gracies out there. Gracie University, I believe, is Huron and Horian Gracie, which is the digital online institution. There is Carlos Gracie's Gracie Diet, which I believe has been taken on by his daughter. There's a lot of stuff, and I love them, but they've had a lot of interfamilial conflict over the misuse of the name or representing certain things that are not followed by other members of the family. And in time, that's gone on. And to their credit, they've kept it very quiet from the pop culture. Those inside the industry hear a little bit about it here and there. But that being said, not all Gracies believe in the Gracie diet. Not all Gracies follow the Gracie diet. And I will focus on the things I like. What I like is the Gracie diet is whole foods. Like us, they are averse to synthetic toxic chemicals, and everything that they discuss and suggest inside the Gracie diet is healthful whole foods. It's real foods. And I've had that stance for 15, 20 or so years since I've been aware of the Gracie diet and trained with some of them who were following it. What I will say is their aversion to food combinations, their meal timing is not what we follow, not what we profess, not what we agree with. And I think long-term, there is a macronutrient deficiency for hard training athletes over a longer period of time, rather low in protein and fats, rather high in fruits, which is okay. But at the same time, it's not as good for maybe muscle building properties. Not that it's always about muscle building, but at the same time, not very good long-term muscle building maintenance. So, Lindsay, I know you didn't know too much about it. Anything that you wanted to add from just what I had said here?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my question, first of all, yes, all the groups are confusing. Like, you can't mix this with this, but why? There's no information. I'm sure there is out there, and I would like to take a look into it. But why can you not mix 2 different types of fruits together? I would like to see their rationale behind that.
Yeah, maybe if next week, Lindsay, how about we do another deeper dive into the Gracie diet? To be fair, I want to give myself more time, but your point is exact. You coming as an academic, as a scientist, and taking a look at it, immediately your brain is saying, wait, why?
Right.
There's not a lot of scientific evidence that would support that type of program, but I love your inquisitive mind. You're saying, okay, now why? Like, you didn't say that's BS. You said, well, why not? Let me hear why.
Right.
Let's understand. It's because there might be something that we're missing here. Now, I went through that very same journey a decade or so ago, and I found out it was bullshit.
Sneak peek. It's a sneak peek. It's going to be bullshit.
And maybe I was wrong. So maybe Professor Lindsay Howard, MS, RD, LRD, CSCS, maybe you come back and you say, Dolce, you were actually wrong. They were onto something. I hope so, actually. I actually love to be wrong. I love to learn new things. But next week, let's come back. We'll actually start the show with a good deep dive into the Gracie diet and maybe one or two of the others. And the goal is not to make anyone look silly or refute anyone or build ours up. The goal is to just simply bring you, hey, here's the good thing to take away, and here's something that, well, maybe we have some better science now that we want to employ. That'll be the approach there. So if any of my Gracie buddies are listening, don't armbar me. Not like you haven't done it 1,500 times, by the way. What do we got? We got John Johnson. What's up, John Johnson? F you, Dolce, bring it. I'm ready to absorb some more truth bombs from the bicep of truth right there. This bicep never tells a lie, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Lindsay in the house dropping pearls of wisdom. That is the truth, by the way. Caitlin Perry, what's up, Caitlin? Hey, coaches, is it best to have your high carb day on your heaviest lift of the day before to load up energy? By the way, just finished Richest Man in Babylon. Awesome. All right, so two things there. Number one, Lindsay, when is the best time to have your high carb day?
Yeah, I would say for sure, if you're doing your heavy lift, yes, you definitely should ingest more carbohydrates when you're going to plan on lifting heavy, because it's energy. Exactly. You're exactly right. Load up on energy. If you're going to lift in the morning, I would certainly start to increase the carbs on the day before. You don't have to like double it. It's just a little extra. Just a little extra. Make sure your stores are topped off, because everybody has a ceiling. Everybody has a glycogen ceiling. Cheers.
There, girl. Yep. I'm gallon number one is done at 11:30 in the morning, by the way, friends. So this might be, and I'm going to the Banya after this. It could be a 3-gallon day for Uncle Mike. I'm just saying.
3-gallon day. But no, so if you're going to lift a little bit later on in the day, just make sure you have a higher carb meal prior to that lift. Not right before, but a few hours before. And again, just to make sure that your stores are essentially topped off. Everybody has a ceiling, so, and we're certainly, again, not recommending like fettuccine Alfredo, but as long as your carbohydrate sources are good, yes, absolutely, you're going to want to plan on having the higher carb day around your heaviest lift day, and also a little bit after to replenish what you did, for sure.
That's a great point. And the only thing that I would touch on is the concept of carb loading is very dangerous, because a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh man, carb loading, like I'm going to Olive Garden tonight. All you can eat breadsticks. And that back old school, like 2000, like after the Team Quest days. And now let me tell you, head strength coach of the #1 fight team in the world in 2004 was broke as a joke. Brandy and I would go to Olive Garden, order the all-you-can-eat breadsticks, the all-you-can-eat soup, and like split one entree and just sit there until we were kicked out, just trying to like get enough calories in us. And we were unintentionally fasting, I would say, just until we had enough money for food again. But a lot of people talk about, carb load. I got a big thing coming out. I'm going to carb load. No, you're just being a fat fuck. Pardon my language. Like that is not carb loading. To Lindsay's point, carb loading is strategic, and it's not a lot. You don't have to eat 1,000 calories of carbohydrate. Literally, 30 to 100 grams of carbohydrates can be considered a load, right, going into training. But the point that you hit also was post-training carbohydrate ingestion. If you could just talk a little bit about that, what that actually does post-training. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, so if you're having a heavy lift day, like your body is taxed. you've actually induced muscle damage. So in order to essentially repair what you just did, you have to have the nutrients for it. You have to replenish all the energy that you broke down, so the ATP that you made from the carbohydrates in the first place. So you have to replenish all that. You then have to essentially synthesize new muscle tissue, which is the goal of lifting heavy, is to induce enough damage that we're
who are your favorite?
making a difference. Scared me there for a second. But no, so if we don't replenish our carbs, you have to pull that energy from somewhere else. So we want to make sure that we're replacing the carbs to get those topped off, so that your muscle protein synthesis can be optimized.
Yep. And so just understanding that you can carb load and carb deplete and run a carb cycle really within 50 to 100 total grams per day. If I'm running, like if I'm trying to get super lean, I'm probably running about 150 to 200 grams of carbs per day, which is like, 5x, almost 10x what a keto head might run.
Right.
But for me and my type of glycolytic activity in my life and the amount of amazing muscle mass that I carry, that actually can be pretty low. So if I'm running about 150 grams of carbs per day, I can load at 200, because 50 grams of high quality carbohydrates, that's considerable if I'm being strategic and targeted going into and out of those training sessions. But then I'm training very intensely,
Right.
like probably like high rep squats, high rep squats, maybe plyo jumps, boom, like interval hill sprints. Man, like 25, 35 minutes of that type of time to work out, I got to crawl to the car afterwards, right? I'm like, you're spent,
you're depleted.
And then next point, Caitlin says, it's Richest Man in Babylon. Everyone should read that book. We'll do a book review here on that channel, by the way. 10% of all you earn is yours to keep, and you put that aside first, which means you live the rest of your life on 90%, which you absolutely can, but now you're paying yourself first. You are your number one creditor, and I say old you versus young you. I pay old me first, and young me is happy to work or not, buy the extra latte today because I'm putting that 10% aside. Then we'll roll into compounding interest and leveraging assets. We'll talk about that stuff later. John T. Held, that's why Fabia is his former trainer. Good point. Mike Cotto actually has a great question right now that says, F you, Dolce and Lindsay. I know you, number one, are you used to people telling you that F you yet?
I've learned to love it.
Learned to love it, right? Yeah. My mom was like, oh, like my son, they say such mean things. Everyone's telling you F you. I was like, Mom, no.
I remember one of the first times I saw it on your channel, I was like, damn, these people are mean. I was like, oh, it's a thing. I got it.
It's a thing. Effing unbelievable is what it means. Effing unbelievable content. And it's for the algorithm. So once this video posts, feel free to throw the FUs in the comment section and give this video a bit of a lift. But Mike Cotto says, my arms aren't the best defined. Would you be opposed to bicep and tricep exercises to sculpt them in a bit? And he's saying, because Lindsay and I, we speak most of the time about training multi-joint compound movements, primarily utilizing the highest threshold movement patterns in order to facilitate growth and athleticism. So now someone who's trying to bring up a lagging body part, Lindsay, what would you do in this case?
Yeah, for sure. It's a different conversation if we're talking about somebody who just wants to put on muscle mass and get stronger overall, and then somebody who wants to actually sculpt a specific body part. So Mike, in your case, absolutely. If you have the time to do more of like a bodybuilding style kind of lift breakdown, then absolutely do that. If you are just focused on the arms, like for definition, if you want to do like bis, tris, and shoulders at the end of, a compound lift type workout, that's totally fine. I do bis and tris, I think, after every lift, just for fun.
Boom.
Yeah, a little superset.
Lindsay. That was a prerequisite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, if that's your goal is to sculpt them up a little bit, and if you've already built kind of like your base of strength, then absolutely. And then the other kind of, obviously we talk about nutrition here. If you want to get sculpted arms, you got to hit your nutrition for sure. there's the saying, you can't out-train a bad diet. You're never going to be able to see your biceps or your triceps if you don't reduce your body fat percentage. So taking care of what you need to take care of in the kitchen and your meals is definitely going to help that also.
Agreed. And before we jump on, guys and gals, I just wanted to briefly show you letsgetchecked.com, letsgetchecked.com/Dolce. This is the only in-home blood testing service that we endorse here at the Dolce Diet and Fitness. We've been working with letsgetchecked.com/Dolce for almost 2 years now. They are incredible. Briefly, let me show you some of the health tests that they have. Women's health. I'll jump into the men's health. Male hormone tests right here. Let's take a quick look. You can get your testosterone test, testosterone, sex hormone binding globulin, free androgen index, all the way through your prolactin, your estradiol, completely tested. Women's health, female fertility test, progesterone, ovarian, HPV test. Also, what I love is the wellness. You can get your cholesterol tested here, ladies and gentlemen, diabetes and heart, percentage of hemoglobin A1C, the cholesterol, HDL, LDL, and percentage of HDL, percentage of total cholesterol. There are so many, even coronavirus tests. So this is letsgetchecked.com/Dolce. Use promo code Dolce in order to save 20 to 40%. I strongly recommend everyone goes to letsgetchecked.com/Dolce. Use that Dolce promo code to save 20 to 40%. Get your testosterone checked. Guys, 25 to 55-year-old males, get that male hormone test. Get your free total testosterone, your sex hormone binding globulin. Let's see what your estradiol level is. Let's get your cholesterol checked. You have kids, your HDL, your LDL, your triglycerides, get that checked. Your A1C level, get that checked. Go to letsgetchecked.com/Dolce, promo code Dolce. This is what all of our athletes, all of our clients use here. Delivered to your house, which is awesome. In 2 days, you get the results on your own private app. It's awesome. Share it with your doctors. And if you're working with our team, you're working with Lindsay in a private setting, one-on-one consultations, we can just review your blood work with you. We can tell you what you need to know, help define it for you, and even help you come up with nutrition and lifestyle protocols based upon that blood work. So let's get checked.com/Dolce, promo code Dolce, save that money. And live. I mean, that's the biggest thing here. Most people don't understand is understanding your blood work. So, and there we go. Shemer, what's up, brother? Come on, Uncle Mike. Why give this oofing guy the time of day? All he wants is name being mentioned. Well, I think it's important to speak about because Diego is so closely affiliated with him. Now they've broken up, and this guy's going to start saying some bad things. So my intention is, number one, to speak openly and give an informed opinion on what's happening in the news cycle. Most of the information is not from an informed source like ours is. But number two, it's to get Diego's back a little bit. Diego might not have the ability to get out there to tell his truth. And I just want to, share the truth because Diego was also, he's responsible for a lot of the mess that he's in right now. But at the same time, just to put the facts out there. What do we got? Ricardo says, why are you guys talking about a mentally impaired fighter? Well, why are you as a mentally impaired person making comments on our YouTube stream? Like, shouldn't you be home right now? I don't know. Maybe I won't say anything, but, just sit back and watch. Don't worry about it. You'll be okay. John T. Health. Oh, my God. A-hole anonymity. This coach is clearly not in the 12 steps group and has no concept of personal respect. So if he was what we call a sponsor, knock the F off, privacy violation. John, you're absolutely right. I do understand the discretion necessary inside the recovery community. That has affected my family and friends and close people in my world have gone through recovery, and some are going through and some need to go through, to be fair. So I think you bring up such a great point that if Fabia was truly a sponsor of someone going through recovery, the way he's engaging right now is contrary to progress.
For sure.
What else we got? So Paul says, understanding that a variety of whole food protein sources is best, is there any concern getting 50 to 70% of my protein from whey isolate? Yikes. Lindsay, what do you say about, let's say, getting, 100 to 120 grams of protein on a 200 gram per day diet?
Yeah, I mean, that's like, depending on your protein powder source, say like most of them are 20, 25 grams of protein. That's like 4 or 5 protein shakes a day. That's a lot.
A lot.
Which in certain specific cases that might be warranted, as far as availability. If somebody works like all day long and it's the only way they can get their protein in, then maybe, okay, but not an everyday thing. The concern, it's not going to be harmful, but the concern here is the rest of the nutrients that you get from other quality protein sources like fish, eggs, meat, stuff like that. You're losing out on all that. So yeah, you're getting your protein in, but you're missing all of the rest of the micronutrients that come along with eating a sirloin steak or a chicken breast or something like that. So that would be my suggestion, is to, you said it yourself, understanding that a variety of whole food protein is the best. It is the best. So, if you have a certain day, a specific day where you need to rely on that much whey protein, then do it, but don't make it an everyday thing.
Agreed. And this is coming from a team that we actually have a whey protein isolate that we sell. The Dolce Whey Pro is just about to be released. We have pallets sitting inside the climate controlled warehouses at the moment. And our protein, and this is not a pitch for the protein, I'm actually going to tell you, most people shouldn't buy it, right? So, think about the worst protein salesman in the world, because I want to make sure you're following the right lifestyle protocols first. Our protein is cold processed. It's cross-flow micro filtered. It is a grass-fed whey protein isolate with either 4 or 5 ingredients. Our chocolate is flavored with cacao. Our vanilla is flavored with real vanilla. There is no artificial anything, right? The sunflower lecithin, there is nothing extra in here. It did exactly what it's supposed to be. But the cold processing is very expensive. The cross-flow microfiltration process is very expensive. We do this to ensure the cofactors are retained in this product. We do not want to use high heat pasteurization like the majority of the industry actually does to simply keep costs low. But by doing that, they actually cook out many of the vital cofactors necessary for the bioavailability of the protein itself, of those amino acids, and the ability for the body to absorb those. Now, whole food is even better. We've made our protein isolate, the Dolce Whey Pro, we've made it as close to a whole food source as possible, as technology will allow. We've literally spared no expense, and we would put our protein in a cottage cheese or a Greek yogurt category of processing, not nearly what most of the store-bought sports supplements are. But that being said, that will never supersede, let's say, a certified Piedmontese grass-fed, grass-finished bavette steak, or wild venison, let's say. Or yesterday, I'm sitting on the dock eating tuna almost as it's coming off the boat. Like, nothing will beat that type of fresh, whole food, healthful whole food environment. And I'll say, even then, as a protein provider, that's like 10% of the population might need a protein powder. And even those who do, you probably only need it to supplement maybe about 10% of your diet. If I'm taking in, 200 grams of protein per day, I maybe only need about 20 grams to come from a protein source, maybe because it's time convenient for me, or from a digestibility perspective, it's more efficient. I can throw it in intra-workout at the end of a really hard one when I might not get some whole food in. It's a low-calorie amino acid source if I'm trying to keep calories relatively low while maintaining and maximizing my muscle mass. So there's reasons for it. But again, 10% of your protein intake maybe should come from there. Now, if I bump it up to maybe 220 or 240, as I start to bump up my total protein intake, well, maybe then I'm taking 30 grams a day instead of 20. I take 20 grams maybe 3 or 4 times a week on my extra hard training days. And that's the real of it. So I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, for sure. It's called a supplement for a reason. It should be supplemental. It shouldn't make up half or the majority of your protein intake for any given day.
Bingo. And all right, so Ricardo comes back. All right, and you've earned your way back in, Ricardo. Now he says, I think you are right on this one, Dolce. So you probably made the comment when you didn't know the context, and you realized how eloquent Professor Lindsay Howard and I are. You understand our command of the English language, that we've done our due diligence. We're actually reporting on the issue in a very unbiased means. I'm just kidding. I can barely talk most days, by the way. So, all right. So more plates, more Nates. I like that. That's a spin off of Derek's channel, More Plates, More Dates, by the way, but also MMA. And that's Derek's, Death Star delts in the background. But he says, how many times a week should I do sprints? Lindsay, you have an answer for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to do this on like every other question that's asked, but I would want to know what you're training for. Are you a casual exerciser? Are you training for a specific event? Because the answer will change drastically based on what you're doing. Why are you running the sprints? If you're just talking general public, I mean, maybe once a week. I mean, sprints are extremely taxing. I can't touch my toes after I finish like a sprint or a track workout, just because of how tight my hamstrings are. Yeah. So saving that for like a one time a week. Now, if I'm talking to like a collegiate athlete, or like a field sport athlete or a basketball player, it depends on what time in their training season they're in. So if they're in the preseason versus the postseason, whatever, it's going to change again pretty drastically. Yeah. So probably bumping it up a little bit more for an athlete that needs to sprint in their sport. But for the general public, maybe once a week, throw in like a sprint, like a high intensity track day, something along those lines.
I love it. And I agree, completely spot on that. I really have nothing to add. Briefly, guys and gals, I wanted to mention that we actually have an online personalized platform. I'll be very brief here. It is thedolcediet.com. You can lose up to 21 pounds in 21 days, fast results or your money back. And this is a state-of-the-art online personalized diet and exercise platform, setting customized goals, daily diet and workout. You can track your progress, literally expect results from day one. The way that you feel is incredible. It is a very robust site, is a robust ecosystem. We have spent a tremendous amount of money behind the scenes to develop this platform as it is right now and consistently enhance it for you. I would certainly suggest you guys go to thedolcediet.com so you can get in the best shape of your life. Briefly, some of the testimonials, just so you can see here, some of the real world Dolce diet transformations. Definitely jump through and take a quick look at some of these amazing human beings as they've gone through, plus the world's greatest athletes, of course, which is tremendous. Again, if you are confused about what to do, how to train, what workouts to do, everything is here at thedolcediet.com. Certainly check that out. Now, moving back to a couple more questions here. Actually, this one from, what's up, Jesse Lee? Says, Sensei Lug Record. Lindsay, how do you keep your clients on track and change behaviors and relationship with food? So Jesse Lee is a professional mixed martial artist. He is a married father and a hard-working craftsman, but at the same time, he's also a Dolce Diet certified coach with a very well-established and growing business. Now asking, so any of you who is a coach, a trainer, a instructor, let's say a mentor, or you just listening right now, trying to get your own life on track. So Professor Lindsay Howard, how do you keep your personal clients on track and help them change their behaviors and relationship with food? Great question, Jesse. Yeah,
I mean, it is definitely a loaded question because everybody's different. Everybody has a different background, a different reason for trying to change their habits. So it's a different conversation with each of my clients. You have some people who have a great relationship with food. They just don't know what to eat and when to eat it. And they need a little bit of guidance there. There are other people that have horrible relationships with food where they think, if I eat this apple, I'm going to get fat. Or if I'm 15 calories over my, 2,000 calorie limit, I'm going to get fat. Yeah. So it's very drastically different from person to person. But I always fall back on, one is communication. So constant communication. People text me clients all over the world. So I get text at like 3 o'clock in the morning because it's in the middle of the day, their time, asking a question about, what should I do for my snack today? I'm running late. I have to take my kids to school, whatever it may be. So communication and teaching them kind of tips and tricks to get through their day in different ways. People who have different types of lifestyles. And then the other main thing is, it's kind of like the theme that I try to stick with, is that food is fuel. And you have to kind of get into that mindset that you're putting stuff in your body that you should feel good about. And when you eat it, it's for a certain purpose. So yeah, it should taste good. That's number one. It should not be for some emotional reason. Okay, that's pretty unhealthy. You shouldn't be fearful to eat at any time. So you shouldn't sit down and be like, oh man, like I'm not going to have as much because, this is too many calories or whatnot. And understanding that the macronutrients and the micronutrients you're putting into your body are helping you reach whatever goal that you're trying to reach, and helping you to maintain or improve your metabolism, your cellular activity, your longevity. So I think the main point here, I guess, would be reminding your clients or reminding yourself that the food that you're eating is for a good reason. You wouldn't survive if you didn't eat food. So kind of falling back on the food is fuel kind of thing, I think is very helpful for a lot of people.
Agreed. And what we typically do, and personally, when I work with my clients and what we try to establish, I say the first 4 weeks is the health and habit phase. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to help anyone lose weight in the first 4 weeks per se, although they will, and I know that they will. And in the first 4 weeks, we're trying to A, improve their health, and B, upgrade their habits that are more inclined with improving your health. What does that mean? Well, this means drinking more water, going to bed at an appropriate time, establishing meaningful interpersonal relationships with the people that you love, and blocking toxic relationships with people that are dragging you down and impeding your growth. These are important habits. The macronutrient does not matter if this is not taken care of. We look to move your body in a consistent manner, 30 minutes per day. It can be walking, it can be swinging kettlebells. I don't care. We're doing something. And also creating the habit of planning your meals, which simply means I have the appropriate groceries in my house for the next 1, 2, or 3 days, right? I don't care. We never ask you to weigh your food and measure your food and count your macro. We never, ever ask you to do that in the beginning. Now, there's a teaching part of that. It's about a half a cup. I speak usually to my clients in terms of handfuls. It's about a handful. It's about a half a cup. That way you have a equalized unit of measurement. But I'm not saying, all right, it's 0.3 grams of this at this time, and this time it's 0.4 grams. You better be careful. Like, that's what a lot of the other practitioners do. And that doesn't matter early on. So we develop a health and habit phase where we improve the health of the individual, where we see dramatic digestive efficiency kick in. We see regular bowel movements kick in. They're sleeping better. Total body inflammation is reduced. Less stress, less anxiety. Well, now the body is more able to do what it's supposed to do. So then as we say, all right, week 1, how do you feel? You're a little hungry midday. You're a little full at night after dinner. Perfect. Let's kind of shift some of those nighttime calories a little earlier in the day so we have a more even run. And let's see how that feels week 2. By doing that, come week 3, week 4, we can see subjectively, all right, well, you're taking in 22 to 2,700 calories per day. Because we'll run a nutrient analysis and then we'll see. You feel best following this basic plan that you've been following for the last 7 to 10 days. Awesome. Well, that actually comes in to be about 2,700 calories on average. We're going to spread that out through over 4 meals. Here are the food groups that really make you feel great. For some reason, some people, they just don't like eggs. No problem. We have 10 different alternative options that you can plug into that zone. Some people like me, I could eat eggs 3 meals a day and feel freaking phenomenal. I'm not going to do that, but that's fine. So what I say again is we establish, and Jesse and anyone listening, You establish a healthy habit system. It's only for a few days to a few weeks. That becomes the platform. Now, week 8, 12, 16, 52, well, you better believe that I can now start changing my carbohydrate sources very strategically intra-workout, pre-workout, post-workout, high glycemic carbohydrates, low glycemic, carbohydrates. I can start to really play with that. After I've developed the health and habit phase, most people make the mistake of jumping into a macro profile, and they haven't established the healthy habits to say, hey, 3 days from now, what's my lunch going to be? Do I even have that in my house right now? Well, yeah, I don't, but I got a sleeve of cookies still sitting here. Well, you haven't established the healthy habits. If you have a sleeve of cookies sitting in your house when you're entering into a healthy weight loss program, that's like having a hooker laying in bed between you and your wife every night. And probably not a good idea for long-term marital bliss, I would say. I wouldn't even ask Brandy Dolce that question, right? Because I know what the answer is going to be. So kind of same thing. Are you establishing healthy habits? I went a little long on that, knowing that, there's people out there that struggle. Lindsay, God, how many times a day do you get that question with people like, how many grams of carbohydrates should I be taking? It's like, well, you're 67 pounds overweight. You haven't worked out in 14 years. And you're all of a sudden worried about, carbohydrate intake, or altering your carb, macro calorie ratio. Come on now. Right.
Yeah. And another rule of thumb is like, one, understanding that what you do for one person is not going to work for the next person. Sticking with the same basic principles. Yes, they should work for, work for most people, but everybody is different. Everybody has different hangups, different schedules, different issues, and things like that. So taking it slow and really getting your clients to understand why they're doing this, and encouraging them to continue on that path and reminding them of why they're doing it, reminding them of how much better they feel and stuff like that. So really celebrating like their wins, and not being too hard on them. Like, I'm not completely soft on my clients, but I'm not like, oh my God, you ate a cookie, like I can't work with you anymore. So being a little bit more flexible and understanding everybody's different situations, and their reasons and the kind of the psychology behind what they're going through and what they're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. And great point. And for everyone, this might be helpful here is our 4-week and 12-week program. I'm not going to go deep into it, but if you're looking for personalized, curated nutrition and exercise content, just go to thedolcediet.com. You can clearly see how robust this site is, how much information is right there. Promo code TRANSFORM, you'll save 20%. Everything is programmed for you with the exact same science that Lindsay and I speak about. No pills, no powders, no potions. We teach you everything you need to know. And I say it is the Trojan horse of fitness, in that we appeal to the narcissism of looking great, with your shirt off, let's say, or, losing the inches. But in time, your life dramatically changes. And that's the most important thing here, is changing your life for the better through health and fitness and teaching you how to live your best life. So again, check out thedolcediet.com for more information on that. This is it's an educational-based program that's wrapped into a personal platform, so we can teach you how to create healthful whole meals. And that's what I said about knowing what you're going to eat. I have the easiest life in the world because I know what I'm going to eat on Thursday at 11 a.m. How easy is my life? I don't have to think about it. It's easy. My groceries are already there. They're stocked. They're ready. It makes my life so easy. And if I want to call an audible, I can. I can go to the cafe down the street and just sit down with a friend or family and just have a great meal that's nearly identical. But I already have those groceries in the house, and they'll be baked or cooked tonight or tomorrow, so they're ready for me on Wednesday or Thursday. I don't have to spend the extra wasted time on that. So that's just a little piece to add. Now, Senior Mango has a great statement here that I think Lindsay and I can jump into. He says he's been cutting for 6 months and done with it. He was fairly fat, but now stuck and tired of cutting. So cutting weight is the verbiage, the terminology being used for 6 months, and you can see how mentally I can see it in reading your 2 sentences here, how over it you are. So Lindsay, well, what do you have to say first?
Yeah, I mean, that it goes for everybody, and it's the reason why a lot of people fail, I guess you could say, when they try to diet or cut or lose weight, because they try to do it way too strict, way too restrictive. And I mean, 6 months is a long time, but if you're that restrictive for that long, like, you need to kind of get a little bit more flexible, and understand that it's probably going to take a little bit longer of a time. But no, my advice would be to not go too hard too soon. And you don't have to be miserable every day with what you're eating. Like, oh man, I have to eat this plastic container of rice and chicken again. So just being more flexible, mixing it up, understanding that you can switch up your sources. You could switch up your protein sources. You could switch up your fruits and vegetables to give yourself variety, to make it I was going to say, and ask a little secondary question about what the cut is. If you're talking about weight loss or actually cutting weight for a specific reason.
And as you're talking, Lindsay, I'm actually showing our online platform at thedolcediet.com. Once again, just to show you guys how robust this is, if you simply go to the platform, you can click on all, you can click on blog, bam. And look, 3 easy crock pot recipes we love, the top 4 breakfast mistakes, 5 ways to improve sleep, 5 foods that could be aging you, energy bite recipes that you will love, how to get rid of loose skin, post-workout nutrition, so much more. But to this exact point, and this question, weight loss versus weight cut. I actually wrote an article on this. Now it's going back almost 10 years that we've been speaking on this very same thing. And we spoke about the increased popularity of mixed martial arts has the word weight cut falling off people's lips like it's a trend. This is 10 years ago. In fact, the weight cut process walks a very precise, often dangerous line between what is healthy and what is hapless. It should not be taken lightly. Pun definitely intended. Look at me being so witty with my writing skills. It's been a while since I really poured into the blogs. But I actually break down functional versus non-functional weight, the difference between weight. Hey, look at this fat guy, and look at this ripped man. Wow, look at that. Super cool. But that's me at 280 versus me at 195 as I continued on. So now let me wipe that off the screen. That, again, is at thedolcediet.com, ladies and gentlemen. You should check that out. There's so much. We have over 1,200 articles on that site right now. Now, that being said, weight loss versus weight cut. Weight cut is short-term. It's a temporary reduction of total body weight. That's what a weight cut is. End of story. So weight loss is the long-term alteration of your total body weight. But really, I would say you want to focus on functional mass versus non-functional mass. So I'm not as concerned now at this stage of life of losing weight as I am of my body composition. I want to be leaner, but I don't so much want to be lighter. So how can I cultivate that type of environment? But many people watching right now or listening right now, and many of us in our lives, you want to lose weight. And in order to lose weight, you actually will be recomping your body at the same time. You'll be adding some lean, healthy, functional muscle tissue, and you'll be losing non-functional, stored subcutaneous and visceral body fat. Also, total body inflammation, total body water is a part of the equation. So Senior Mango, that concept, and I know you've thrown in some other body fat and weight, and you went from 202 to 185. I think that's awesome. But brother or gal, Senior Mango, you said senior, so I'm assuming it's a male, but I'm not assuming anyone's gender these days. But I will say 202 to 185. Hey, awesome. Our 3 weeks to shredded program is designed to lose 21 pounds in 21 days. And it has a very high success rate in doing that. That is a weight cut. And then if you move on to more of the Living Lean program, that is total body recomposition, in that most of our Living Lean 12-week members, they'll wind up shifting about 40 pounds of total body weight over that 12-week period of time and continue on. So we say, hey, 3 weeks to shredded, man, you need to make a change. You want to change your life. You want to get in. You want to jumpstart that weight loss. Awesome. Let's get it going. and then transition into the Living Lean plan, and then keep on going, keep making changes. Our recipes inside the software are constantly updated. There's a database, 200 extra recipes, 200 extra workouts or exercises that can be substituted as the program continues. Like, there's so much inside the ecosystem, the online platform, which is why I'm talking about it today. I mean, I never even talk about it here on this channel, right? I mean, I talk about certified Piedmontese, to which we love, but this is something that people should know. We've created the program for people just like you, Senior Mango or Magno, just to see what it is. What else? Oh, Aquir says Magno. This is odd. Magno to Magno, Mango and a Magno. That's kind of odd. Is this a troll account? Anyway, thoughts on Greg's recomp or main gaining as a dietitian? Maybe we'll do a review of Gracie diet next week. Greg Doucette's, as our buddy Leo in Longevity says, Greg Doucette's cancer cookbook. But we'll see, because it's all synthetic toxic chemicals, artificial sweeteners. Greg has freaking no idea what he's talking about. I mean, and shame on him, by the way, for taking advantage of the population the way that he does with zero education, zero knowledge, zero credibility. Shame on Greg, just trying to spin some cash. He should stick to the natty or not type stuff and stop telling impressionable people how to eat when clearly he has no idea. He's a drug user. He's a drug pusher. He's a drug, sticker and ingester. That's largely responsible for his current physique and has been for nearly 2 decades, I believe he says. But clearly what he discusses on his channel is harmful. Whatever his intention is. Maybe he's just a dunce and doesn't know, or maybe he knows better and is just trying to shill and make money off of people. Either way, you shouldn't listen. But maybe Lindsay and I will jump on next week. We'll do the Gracie diet. And I don't even know I don't follow Greg's stuff anymore. He's just so there's so many words that come up. So it's just not my cup of tea, let's say. It's funny because that just came up. Zach C, what do you think of Greg? Sounds like a high-pitched weasel. Oh, yikes. All right. Tell us what you really think. I don't know. I mean, I'm more just upset with Greg. What I believe he's smart enough to know different, and he intentionally lies. That's what my belief system is. But maybe I'll do a deeper dive. I'll get one of the interns to jump through and maybe do a deeper dive, pull some facts from Greg, because I don't want to say anything that's just conjecture or opinion. I actually want to, kind of see what he's saying here. Maybe there is some wisdom, but telling kids to consume synthetic toxic chemicals in order to be healthy makes zero sense when Greg is injecting synthetic toxic chemicals into his body, which is responsible for the way that he looks. Anyway, so we'll get into that stuff later. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you are all absolutely incredible. We appreciate you guys being here. Click the links below. Go to thedolcediet.com. Save 20% with promo code TRANSFORM right now, the 4-week to 12-week plan. Also, letsgetchecked.com/Dolce, promo code Dolce. Save 20 to 40% on in-home blood testing. Get your blood test done. Guys, get the male hormone panel. Ladies, get your thyroid checked out. Everyone get your A1Cs. Let's see what your cholesterol is doing. Take control of your life. Professor Lindsay Howard, you are absolutely amazing. We appreciate you being here every single day and classing up this joint. Anything to add to the class today?
I don't think so. Good stuff today. Thank you for having me as always.
Of course. And remember, next week, 11 a.m., we will be going over the Gracie diet, whatever Greg Doucette nonsense might be out here, and always answering your question. I also have one really cool conversation with you guys next week. Until next time, boom!